Oh, welcome back to Margaritas in Paradise. Hey, are prices changing even more in Thailand? Can you afford to live in Thailand or Pattaya for that fact? Well, we're going to go over all that and give you a good breakdown of how things are changing around here right now. I did a video about 7 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, and about the prices of accommodations and transportation, your lifestyle and that type of stuff. I guess the main thing is you have to kind of figure who you are. Are you coming here for a holiday and you have a budget of, let's say, $20,000? Maybe that's too high. I don't know. Let's say you do have a budget of $10,000 and you're planning on staying in Thailand for a month. Can you do that? Most people can. Okay, I could stay in Thailand and probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 months on that much money. People wouldn't be able to do that. They wouldn't be able to live that lifestyle. I was looking online and I searched how much does it cost to live in Pattaya, Thailand right now. You know, it says the cost of living in Pattaya can vary by a lot, and it kind of depends on you and your lifestyle, why you're here. If you're here for vacation, you come here and you start spending money. You know, it's making money rain. If you're that type of person, you're going to spend a lot more money than a guy like me, somebody that lives here. Now, I'm definitely an expat. You know, I'm boots on the ground. I live here every day, and I live on a budget. My budget has to last the entire month, and more so than not, I think I'm a lot like a lot of other people, that you get to the last week of the month and it gets pretty tight sometimes. And that's where I learned you always have to have a backup plan that you can touch in the emergency. Plan on that last week. You know, keep some money tucked in a drawer or something like that just for that last week. We've talked about this in the past. Okay, can you live here on $1,000 a month? It's not the lifestyle that you came to Thailand for. You're living here a meager income, okay? You're existing. That's probably you're here existing. Depending on your lifestyle, your socialization or things like that, if you're around even just a few friends, more than likely you can't afford to do the same things that your friends are doing. I've talked about Warren in the past. He's still going strong. You know, he's like 84 years old, and he lives on less than $1,000 a month. But again, would I want to do that? No, absolutely not. I think, you know, a minimum of $1,500, and it may even be higher than that now. I'm fortunate. And my budget is higher than that. But the thing is, I know from personal experience, I've tested it in the past for me, that I could do it on $1,500 a month. Now, 1,500 US dollars. Alexa, 1,500 US dollars equals what in Thailand baht?
1,500 US dollars is 48,930.00 Thai baht.
So 48,000 Thai baht. On that type of budget, you're still having to watch every baht, okay? You can't be going out and buying a bunch of lady drinks or ringing the bell, you know, that type of thing. There's no way that you could go out and be spending 1,000 baht a night on food. The number one expense that you're going to find here is housing, accommodations. And what do you want? Do you want to live by the beach? Or do you want to live in city? Or you can get outside of the city. If you don't mind traveling so much and you're really looking for budget accommodations, you can find that the further out from the city or further out from the beach that you get, the cheaper the rent's going to be. How cheap does it go? When I had my bar, I rented 2 rooms out back. My bar was just a single level, so we didn't have an upstairs at all. And so we had 2 apartments out back for our staff to stay at, the ones that wanted to stay. And we rented those rooms for 3,000 baht, approximately, I'd say $90 to $100 per Westerners. Phalangs don't want to stay in those type of living arrangements. That's a small room, has no furniture in it, has limited outlets for plugging in appliances and that type of stuff. The toilet is probably a squat toilet. By Western standards at all, it may or may not have an instant hot water thing for the shower. Absolutely no air conditioning, things like that. Some place for you to sleep or store your goods. And I know Falungs that stay in places like that. But for the most part, most people couldn't make it a day or two in those type of accommodations. So you get into the really cheap of the cheap. I did a video on finding budget accommodations. I'll put a link here for that. Even in this building here, you're looking at the cheapest I've ever seen in this building was 7,500 baht for a studio. Now, this building here, every room has a sea view. That's a nice thing. But I don't know what the furnishings are like and that type of stuff, if anything's been updated in the last 20 years on a room like that. My room, for instance, it's going to cost you probably $20,000 a month, which is around $600 a month US. If you haven't done so already, make sure you give me a big thumbs up, that you're hitting that subscribe button. Hit the little bell next to it for future notification of videos that are coming out. But it's doable here, and there's rooms available right now for it's that. It's going to depend on your lifestyle and what you want to do. If you want to move into the city or in the outskirts of the city, the prices are going to go down quite a bit. Other things that you have to consider, like transportation to the areas that you want to be. Of course, I would always recommend living close to the areas that you want to be, with the exception of nightlife. You're thinking in your head that you want to be close to the nightlife. Well, I would never recommend living on top of a bar, for instance, or something like that, if you also wanted quiet. You know, some bars, they don't care about their neighbors or anything else. So if they have a big party and it lasts all night until 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, they don't care about you sleeping. If you decide that you want to live in a certain area, you need to plan out ahead of time and find out all about that area. You know, in general, most accommodations here can be quite affordable. Now, when we jump back to, let's say, somebody on holiday here, you know, the difference in accommodations that we talk about, I've talked about this in the past, that when I first came here, to Pattaya, Thailand in 2006. A hotel back then would cost me, let's say, 1,000 baht, approximately $30 or so. And this was probably a 3-star hotel. A lot of times that came with breakfast, that type of thing. What an average person would probably consider doable for them. Today, it's the same price. It's still 1,000 baht. And I'll put some examples from Agoda that you can look at. Now, if you're coming here looking to stay at, let's say, a Holiday Inn or a Best Western or a Marriott or a Sheraton or something like that, and they're being sold on Agoda or Booking.com or whatever, they're going to be compared to a tourist area anywhere around the world. And they're going to sell you that room at the highest price they think's affordable for you. So if you're used to staying in a Sheraton 4 or 5-star hotel, and you're used to spending, let's say, $300 a night for your room, and you see a similar room here in Pattaya, right on the beach, has everything that you would expect for that type of hotel, and it's only, let's say it's $120, and you think, oh, that's a steal, okay? Well, for the Sheraton room, that may be a steal, but that's no deal here in Pattaya, Thailand. There's lots of places here that you can get that are just as nice for a lot less in price. And that's the reason why I mention anywhere you go in Thailand that you should consider upgrading your stay, because you can really get into really nice hotels for extended stays for really low prices that you would never see in the bigger cities around the world compared to here in Pattaya, Thailand, or you can compare it anywhere in Thailand. You go to Phuket, which is a major tourist destination, and prices are different there than they are here in Pattaya or Bangkok or places like that. You just kind of have to look around. Your money definitely goes further here in Pattaya. I'll tell you what, it goes further. I was out in the last week kind of checking hotel prices and that, and to me, I just don't see any increase really in hotel prices in general. For modest, I would call it 3-star hotels, or with breakfast included. You know, prices really haven't changed here. I've talked about inflation before in Pattaya, Thailand, and I don't see it the way that a lot of people see it. You can still go out, and Thai street food is very cheap, very reasonable. For $1 or $2, you can enjoy a meal. A chicken and rice still down the street, 100 meters away from me, it's less than 100 baht, less than $3 for chicken and rice. Actually, it's cheaper than that. It's closer to $1. I was just down and had chicken and rice the other day. It ended up costing me 40 baht for chicken and rice. It was just one piece of chicken. They always want to give me white meat. I want dark meat. They put a little bit of a Thai soup type gravy over the top of the rice, and it's enough for me. And it comes with free service water. You can really play it smart, especially on these street venues. But there's other restaurants around here that you're still looking at less than 300 baht, $10. If you decide that you need Western food or something like that, and you need Italian tonight or whatever, the prices are still probably the average price for some Italian place is probably going to be less than 400 baht per person. Those prices have been pretty standard for a long time. Now, if you want to go another Western tourist location, then you're going to be expected to spend 1,000 baht per meal, that type thing. But I just don't get it. Why somebody from Europe or from the USA or wherever they're from, they come to Thailand and they're craving spaghetti. It's amazing that people, they're on holiday, you know, they don't care what they spend, and they go out and spend $30, $40 per person on a meal. Just kind of keep it in mind. When you come and want to go out to dinner with me, I always suggest 1 or 2 places normally, okay? Or maybe 3 places. I suggest Pattaya Beer Garden, for instance, and I'll put a link here for that. You know, you can go in there and get anything you want. You can get Thai food, and you can get a T-bone steak. And this I always suggest is Wine Garden at the Royal Garden Plaza. I go there with the guys all the time. You know, and another place I like is this Zip Lounge and Apartments over on Soy Diana. I just went there with the West. Shout out to West. It's pretty good and pretty cheap, he can tell you. Food is obviously a big thing for most people. That's probably the second most expensive thing. And even for a guy like me, I think I told you before that I budget 28,000 baht, almost $1,000 a month just on me for my food. Some people spend a lot more than that, and there's a lot of people that spend a lot less on that because they've been able to make the transition to eating Thai food only. And if you've done that, you can probably, I'm telling you, you could probably get way down there in a couple $100 a month as a budget for food. And that's normally the second highest thing. Another budget item that nobody thinks about is insurance. And insurance, we've been talking about insurance for a long time. Prices keep going up. A 60-year-old man that's in really great condition, doesn't have any prior health conditions or things like that, it's probably going to cost him $300 to $400 a month. Of course, if you have prior conditions that affect you, like you're taking cholesterol medicine or high blood pressure or things like that, or you're a diabetic or whatever the condition is, then it's going to be a lot higher. You know, you're talking about $600, maybe $1,000 a month. In all honesty, the people I know around here, they're gambling. You know, they're really gambling, because I would say that most people, I'm not telling you to do this, okay, but most people probably do not have the insurance that they need. The bare minimum, you need travel insurance. Maybe accident insurance would be a good option. One of the big things that everybody, especially if you're going to ride a motorbike, even if you're riding a motorbike on a motorbike taxi or something like that, you want to make sure the insurance covers motorbike. And we can jump into that. That's probably a whole nother video. But a lot of the insurances limit you to a 125cc or less. So if you're riding around on a bike like mine, it's 155. Most of the accident insurance, that type of stuff's not going to cover you. So look it up before you buy any of the accident insurance or travel insurance as well. Now, probably the next big item that you have to look at is lifestyle, nightlife, what you're going to do while you're here. Now, if you're like Warren, he has a daily route he's been doing for quite a bit. It used to always be books and Netflix for him. Anymore, he's spending a lot of time on the beach. The beach is free, and he normally takes 2 beers down to the beach and watches the sunset just about every night. Now, Warren, he doesn't go out to bars or anything like that, and he does eat 100% street food. He has a girlfriend that he helps out a little bit. She comes over and stays with him like, I think about 2 or 3 nights a week. He's on a budget, and for whatever reason, I don't see him a lot, but I usually see him on the elevator or something like that. And I'll try to bring up the budget thing because that's the one thing that I have in common with him. He told me last year that he saved $1 million baht. Now, what's about $32,000. And he's on a set income, Social Security income. Now, anyway, he told me this year, not too long ago, that he's up over 2 million baht. The guy has a strict budget and he knows what he can afford to spend. He told me at one time, I'm not sure what he's making per month through the Social Security system. He was only making $1,200 a month. If he hung out with me, he couldn't afford that budget. I'm telling you, because I spend too much money. That's another thing. Who do you hang out with? Are you hanging out with the right crowd? You're around guys or going to the bars every night or have a lifestyle of sitting around socializing, drinking alcohol, things like that, more than likely it's going to cause you financial hardship trying to keep up with that crowd. So lifestyle has to be considered of what you're going to do. If you're going to play golf once or twice a week, something like that, that's going to cost money. If you need a motorbike or you're just going to use Bolt taxis or whatever for getting around, that's going to cost money. You have to figure things like visa requirements. It's going to cost money. There's lots of small things. There's lots of miscellaneous things that are going to come up. Maybe you need toilet cleaner, shampoo, or laundry soap, or maybe you have somebody doing your laundry for you. All of that costs money, and you have to throw that into your budget as well. Simple things like water. Most people cannot drink, or most of the water in Thailand is not potable, so you have to buy water. I know people here that have got filter systems and that type of thing, and that costs money to have that installed. There's lots of extra things that are going to come up. You may break a pair of glasses or something and need a tube of super glue. Costs money. So you need to have money available for the miscellaneous. You should have emergency stash of money somewhere. And one of the things, when I first came here in 2006, they had these bot buses that basically took you from point A to point B, and lots of people use these every day. A lot of people feel like that's one of the things that when they're looking for their accommodations, is there a bot bus available around their accommodations for them to get around on? I'll tell you, 20 years ago, the bot buses, they cost 10 baht. And today, they cost 10 baht. That's another thing when we're talking about inflation or the rising prices of what things cost that just haven't changed. I'll get on a bot bus every now and then, and I'm usually with one of you guys or something like that, and they'll say, well, how much is it? And I'll say 10 baht. and they'll get off and they'll give the driver a 100 baht and tell him to keep the change. Now, for me, I would never, ever do that. But there are a lot of people that do things like that. And I'm not recommending it to you because, as I always tell people in general, when it comes to tipping, you should be as generous as you can afford to be, and don't worry about what other people do. All right, so what are the other things that you have to include in your budget while you're here in Thailand? And what are the things that you have to think about? List them in the description below if you have anything else that you can add. A couple things that I'm going to finish up on. If you haven't done so already, make sure you give me a big thumbs up, that you're hitting that subscribe button. Hit the little bell next to it for future notification of videos that are coming out. And I want to put out a special shout out to Stan D, GT Nuts, both of the members area. I appreciate you guys so much. Also put a shout out to Middle of Nowhere, Randy P, Big Slick. All right, guys, I definitely appreciate it. And let's see here, Matt L, Keith B, Middle of Nowhere. I appreciate it, guys. I really do. Thank you for your continued patronage of the members only area. All right, let's keep going. And then lastly, Florida Gator. All right, guys. I thank you very much. Thank you. I definitely want to reemphasize. I sit there and talk about budgets. Not everybody's budget's going to work for you. You have to be realistic. When you see me sitting here and enjoying my lifestyle, which I really do, I love where I live. It's never got boring waking up in the morning and looking out at the ocean. There's some days that are better than others. When it's bright and sunny, of course, it's a great day, but even when it's raining out or kind of gloomy, or if we have smog in the air, it's never really a bad day here. So, and what I can do, a lot of people would see my life as boring and they need to have more activity. I only go out, let's say 2 or 3 nights a week on average. And some people have to have people around them all the time, or they're just bored silly. And if that's the case, that you need to go out more or things like that, you really need to find things that are free. Okay, if you have a lower budget, if you have an unlimited budget, you can do whatever you want. If you're sitting here on, let's say, $1,500 a month, your existence here is going to be limited. You're not going to be able to travel extra or go out maybe more than once a week or something like that. If you're prone to depression or things like that, and you feel like you need to have more people around you, maybe this place is not the right place for you. I've said this before. Don't come here broke. Thailand, it's a resort area. It's a tourist area, and things cost money here. For the most part, there's, besides going to the beach and things like that, there's no freebies here. So healthcare, it costs money. It's cheaper here than, let's say, the U.S. or things like that. But, and you can do things on a lower budget level. You have to get out and look to do those things. You have to be conscious of why you're here, how much it's going to cost to keep you here. And then the last thing I want to bring up, you have to compare why you're here. Okay, if you're here on a holiday, more than likely you have a set amount of money that you can spend. And you're not going to be living here like an expat. Okay, somebody that's here on a budget and they're meeting their budget. Does that make sense? If you have $5,000 to spend every month, you can live a really comfortable life. A lot of people think that you need $3,000 a month to live here, living a modest lifestyle. $1,500, we've talked about this, like Warren. Not everybody's going to be able to live like Warren at less than $1,000 a month. He has more available to him, but that's what he's been able to adapt to. Not everybody's going to be able to do that. When we moved up, let's say last year, that $1,000 budget level to $1,500, that may not be enough even for a lot of people. Most people I know, a minimum of $2,000 anymore. Have prices gone up? Well, certain prices have, and it kind of depends on how you want to live, what your lifestyle is going to be, and the choices you make, whether you're going to have insurance, if you're going to have transportation, if you're going to see companionship. It all costs money. Anyway, I hope I answered your questions. If you have any questions, definitely put them in the comments section below. You can send me a message at margaritasinparadise@gmail.com as well. And I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.